You won't believe what happened to me. The HOA actually built 35 houses on my land, without asking, without paying, nothing. And when I confronted them, they laughed in my face. But in the end, I made sure every single one of those homes paid the price. So, here's the deal. I inherited a big piece of land from my grandfather. It wasn't flashy, just some open acres, a creek running through it, and a small dam that he and his brothers built decades ago. Nothing special, until the neighborhood HOA started sniffing around. At first, I didn't pay much attention. I lived in the farmhouse on the edge of the property. The HOA controlled the subdivision next door, but they didn't have any power over me. Or so I thought. One summer, I started noticing construction trucks driving across my property. I thought maybe they were repairing utilities. But then, I saw cement poured, frames going up, entire houses rising on land that belonged to me. I stormed over to the site manager. "Excuse me, what the hell do you think you're doing on my land?" He barely looked up from his clipboard. "This is HOA development property. We've got permits." "Permits?" I shouted. "This is my grandfather's land. I have the deed. You don't own this." And then she showed up. Karen, the HOA president. She strutted over in her sunglasses, clipboard in hand, smug smile plastered across her face. "Oh, you must be mistaken," she said sweetly. "This land was rezoned for community development. We're expanding the neighborhood. It's better for everyone." I pulled out my deed. "No. This land is mine." Her smile twisted into a smirk. "Well, maybe you should have paid attention sooner. The homes are already going up. You can't stop progress." I contacted a lawyer. I filed complaints with the county. I waved my deed in every official's face. But the HOA had deep pockets and powerful friends. They claimed my deed was unclear, that the boundary markers were outdated, that the land was legally annexed into their subdivision. Meanwhile, construction continued. Families moved in. 35 houses rose across what had been my pasture land. Every time I drove past, I could see Karen smiling at me like she'd already won. One day, I confronted her at an HOA meeting. "You stole my land," I said, loud enough for every board member to hear. Karen leaned forward, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Sweetheart, why don't you just sell us the farmhouse too? You can move on with your life. Trust me, it's for the best." I wanted to explode. But I kept quiet. Because I had an idea. See, Karen and her HOA didn't realize one thing. All those houses? Every single one of them sat downhill from the old dam on my property. The dam that controlled the creek. The dam my grandfather built. And guess who still owned the water rights? Me. I didn't do anything right away. I let them get comfortable. I let Karen gloat. I let families settle into their shiny new homes. But the more they laughed at me, the more I planned my revenge. One stormy night, after yet another nasty HOA letter threatening to fine me for keeping my property unsightly, I made my choice. I walked out to the dam. And I opened it. The creek surged, roaring downhill. Water rushed through the subdivision. Yards flooded. Driveways cracked. Basements filled. By morning, all 35 homes were damaged. Some beyond repair. And when the HOA came screaming at me, I just held up my deed. "This is my land. These are my water rights. Maybe next time, don't steal what doesn't belong to you." So after I opened the dam and flooded 35 homes, you'd think the HOA would back down. Nope. They came after me harder than ever. But their greed and arrogance? That's what destroyed them in the end. The flooding caused chaos. News crews showed up. Families were furious. And who did they blame? Me. The HOA painted me as some kind of villain who destroyed innocent families' homes. Karen went on the local news saying, This man is a danger to the community. He abused his property rights to attack families. But she didn't know the whole truth. And soon, everyone would. The HOA slapped me with a massive lawsuit. They wanted damages for every home. Millions of dollars. I'll admit I was nervous. But I also knew something they didn't. See, when I dug deeper into county records, I discovered something shocking. The HOA had never filed the proper permits for building those 35 homes. They thought their connections would protect them. But legally? Those homes were illegal structures. So when we went to court, my lawyer dropped the hammer. Karen's smug face fell as the judge reviewed the evidence. You mean to tell me, the judge said, that you built 35 homes, without authorization, on land that was never yours? Karen stammered, we had verbal agreements. We thought. The judge slammed his gavel. Case dismissed. And I suggest you prepare for criminal charges. Suddenly, the tables turned. The HOA wasn't suing me anymore. The county was suing them. Within weeks, demolition orders came down. 35 homes, gone. Families forced to leave. The subdivision in shambles. And the cherry on top? Karen herself was arrested for fraud, conspiracy, and embezzlement. The same news crews that once painted me as the villain now called me the farmer who stood up to the HOA. In the end, I got my land back. The subdivision? Flattened. The HOA? Bankrupt. Karen? Sitting in jail. And me? I rebuilt my grandfather's farm. The creek still runs. The dam still stands. And every time I walk past it, I remember the night I opened those floodgates, not just on the land thieves, but on their entire empire. So let me ask you. If an HOA built homes on your land, what would you have done? Drop your answer in the comments, I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe for more insane American HOA stories.